So when you log in, the first thing you'll notice is you can land anywhere where you want. In this user, I happen to fall into the controller dashboard. I'm going to come back to this dashboard here in a minute, but it might make sense for you to log into, and the first thing you see is a report or a data entry screen. You know, wherever it makes sense for you to start your day is where we would set up your unique individual screen for your user. On the upper left, we have a drop down here for intercompany accounting. So in other words, this is a setup where we have 3 companies and 4 branches, and it allows for rolling up consolidated balance sheets, P&Ls, reporting, things like that, as well as individual reporting. So if I want to report on products wholesale or products retail, I can do that. They both roll up to Systems Consulting Group. So in this particular scenario, again, I've got 4 branches, products wholesale, retail, rolling up to Systems Consulting, services east and west up to Revision 2 services and so forth. But you may have 1 company with 10 branches. You may just have 1 company. But the point being is you have intercompany accounting capabilities. The left-hand side of the screen, we have what we refer to as workspaces. So we have a finance workspace. You know, and the workspace has a series of menu items as well as these tiles across the top. And you can make these tiles whatever you want. It's basically designed for quick entry. When you're in the finance workspace, you'll see things like, you know, all GL related menu items, things like chart of accounts, ledgers, P&Ls, balance sheets, you know, you name it, journal transactions, GL related information. And one thing that's really nice is if you click on the word finance or in any of these different workspaces, you can pare down the menu items. So you see there's a much fewer menu items. These are the ones I would use day to day. I don't use all of these, you know, as an example, I don't hit these preferences every day. So I can filter them out by just hitting this little cog, and whatever I check off is what's going to show up on what we refer to as the quick menu. So it's easy, it's simple, it's clean, there's no developer needed. You know, anybody can do it, it's user specific. You'll also notice these stars. These are favorite places. So every individual workspace, you can have your different favorites, and they are consolidated in the favorites workspace. So it's very similar to the quick menu, whereas the quick menu basically pares down menu items on a single workspace. The favorites allows you to accumulate favorites from all your various workspaces into one workspace. If you want a little bit more screen real estate, you can expand and collapse this as well. Okay, this across the top, this button, this little search button, really nice. What it allows you to do is to do a universal search throughout the system. This field is on every screen throughout the system. And as an example, if I was to type in USA, you see there's 4 tabs across the top: menu items, transactions and profiles, help, and files. So I have 2 menu items that had USA in them. I have several transactions, this customer USA. I've got an AR invoice, a contract, etc. Help articles, if I've got any files attached. Here would be, you know, if the name of the file includes USA, I'm going to be able to locate it. It's really a powerful search engine throughout the system. A lot of our customers that have used systems in the past don't have anything like this, and it's really nice to be able to search anytime, anywhere throughout the system. By the way, the upper left-hand, you know, the Acumatica logo is the home button. So whenever you click on that, it takes you home, so you're never lost. As you go into a menu item, so I'll just hit a random item here. Let me hit a better one. How about journal transactions? And a new journal transaction. So you've got this little question mark, and what it allows you to do is it gives you everything about, in this case, a journal transaction, all the procedures, the concepts, the form reference, all the help. What's really nice about the form reference is it tells you field by field every single field on that form. And again, this is the universal functionality throughout the system, so you can always see what the fields mean. Another thing that's really nice that I'll mention that people like, it's kind of a small thing, but I'll mention it. You can click and open up a menu item on a different tab, open it in a different window, so you can go side by side, tab by tab. All right, let me focus on these dashboards quickly, just so you guys get a feel for what they are. The dashboards are customizable by user, role or role specific, designed to give the user, a pleasing visual experience to be able to focus on the KPIs, the priorities of the day, not get stuck in the weeds. Again, highly personalized. There's a lot of these dashboards out of the box, but they're very easy to set up by the end user, and basically it puts critical data at your fingertips. So as an example, on the controller dashboard, he's concerned about like what cash does he have on hand, what cash is going to be required the next 30 or 60 days, what cash is going to be expected to come in, and who's on credit hold, and who are my overdue customers, and so forth. I see my cash position over time. And of course, these are all elements I can drill into. So if I want to see my cash position in September 2019, I just click on it, and here is my cash position in September 2019 in my different accounts. Same with top overdue balances, so I can drill down into any of these customers here and see their AR invoices and so forth. So that's the controller dashboard, just a couple of other flavors. So sales operation dashboard. The sales operation would be concerned about different things, about leads that are unassigned or new leads, open opportunities, what's going to be closing, how's my lead distribution going? I can see who's getting leads. Opportunity distribution, which ones are open and won and lost and new. As an example, I can look at Jay and say, wow, the purple is won deals. And I can see quickly, well, Jay's closing a lot of deals, and maybe I need to go down here and talk to Maxwell. He's not doing too well. But I can get the big picture. That's the point. I go to maybe a customer view dashboard. This is a really nice dashboard because it gives you the big picture of all your customers in one place. It can be set up in a variety of different ways, but here are all throughout my organization, all my sales opportunities, all my sales orders, my trends, or items purchased for throughout the organization. And then I compare it down to an individual company. And just say I want to go to USA Bartending, and now I've pared it down the same data, but just specifically to this company. That's a really nice dashboard. Purchasing manager. He's going to be concerned about purchasing suggestions, overdue receipts, low turnover items, high turnover items. You kind of get the flavor of these dashboards, and they're very easy to manipulate and to really see what's important, and to see like 10 or 15 reports all at once in front of your eyes. I will mention this too. You can easily hit this design button. You can move these around. You can hit this little pencil. You can edit thresholds, colors, things like that. You can get rid of a widget. You can add a widget, and adding a widget is as simple as just following the prompts. Whether you want to add a chart, a data table, an embedded page, a pivot table, Power BI tile. These colored boxes are called the Scorecard KPIs, wiki pages, etc. As an example, if I click on Scorecard and hit next, again, I just pick the screen. I pick the alarm levels, I pick the colors, an icon, a caption, and I just follow the prompts. No touching code, no developer. It's designed to be user friendly, and that's one of the reasons it rates so high in that experience on that Magic Quadrant. So if I go into, as an example from the controller dashboard, I click on overdue customers. There was 39 of those, and here's my list of 39 overdue customers. And I want to spend a minute looking at this grid of information, because these grids are throughout the system, and what I'm going to show you is universal functionality. So you've got these various columns. The first thing I'll mention is you've got a whole bunch of different columns. You can available columns and selected columns, so you can add and subtract whatever columns you want. You can take these columns, you can resize them. mouse will get a little tricky on me today. I can sort these columns, ascending, descending, contains, starts with. I can look up amounts, equals is between amounts, greater than, less than. You get the idea. You can create these permanent filters across the top. As an example, I created this overdue, and all I do is hit this little filter button, and I put the conditions, and I saved it, and I've got a permanent filter, and I can use any of these filters to drive dashboards within the system. So these grids of information are really nice. You can just drill into them, again, from the dashboards and massage that data very easily. If I wanted to find a customer that, say, contained USA, looking for this particular customer called USA Bartending, and I go into the customer just to show you how everything is consolidated in this customer card. You're going to see this tab called General Information with names, addresses, phone numbers, the customer class. In this case, this customer is a key customer, which defaults things like write-off limits, credit limits, things like that. I can go to the billing status or the billing settings and see send invoices by mail, email, dunning letters, print invoices, etc. I can see all the different locations for this customer, which one is a default, how do they like to pay, who are the different contacts within this customer, who are the salespeople, what are the commission rates, the attributes. Again, this is throughout the system. This is user-defined fields. I was dealing yesterday with a concrete company, and they wanted to be able to see, how can we sort this by various types of concrete. But the point being is you can, whatever makes sense for you, whatever user-defined fields or attributes you want to track a customer, you can do that here. This is maybe my favorite tab, Activities. In this tab, you can see everybody that's touched, when they touch this account, what they're doing, whether it was a message, an email, a task, a work item, who it was, when it was, and you can pull it all up and get a very good view of what's going on with this customer. Of course, what GL account it's hitting. You've got these buttons across the top. You can put notes on a customer. You can put attached files and so forth. You've got drop-down menus. For this customer, I can add a new invoice, a new sales order, a payment. I can do different inquiries like customer details, what are the sales prices. I can see some reports, AR balance by customer, customer history, customer aging, and so forth. This button here called View Account is really a powerful button. What it does is it allows you to see all of the CRM components. For instance, what are all the outstanding opportunities for USA Bartending? What kind of cases or service orders or tickets, you may want to call them, are on with this customer? What kind of contracts do they have going with us? What orders have they placed? Sales orders. Here's a full list of all their sales orders, and what marketing campaigns have they been involved with, or marketing list. So you can really get a view of these customers, and all I did was drill down from the dashboard, and I got into that customer and had a full view of everything that customer, everything about that customer, 360-degree view. So let me show you a user interface screen. I'm going to show you a journal transaction, but I want you to keep in mind that this is universal functionality. I could be in a sales order, a purchase order, paying a bill, an AR transaction. The screens are going to look the same. You've got a summary screen at the top. It's going to give you big picture things like, okay, in this case with a journal transaction, am I dealing with AP, AR, GL, etc.? What branch am I dealing with? What ledger? Am I in the actual ledger, reporting statistical ledger? Am I in US dollars, or what currency am I using? Dates, things like that. You've got these buttons across the top. I'm going to come back to those, very powerful. And then you've got line items at the bottom. So I've got a journal transaction. If I wanted to add a journal transaction, I could hit the plus sign and I could start adding journal transactions. But I just want to show you this upload feature. Again, universal functionality. I'm going to choose a file, journal transactions, upload it, and I'm just going to use the defaults. And this is a simple mapping from the Excel spreadsheet to the fields in Acumatica. I'm going to hit OK. You can get that rendition by downloading a journal transaction. And here I've uploaded all that information from that Excel spreadsheet directly into this particular journal transaction. Maybe you've got a sales order that's got 20 items on it on a spreadsheet that you want to upload into a sales order or purchase order. You get the idea. You can upload data into Acumatica. These buttons across the top are really powerful. You can add notes. So if I add just a note to this journal transaction, now I've got a permanent note attached. I can attach an activity. And an activity would be an example of an activity would be, for instance, an email or an event or a message or a note. So if I want to send an email, it defaults to me. I'm Maxwell Baker, but this I want to send to Joe Beecher. And I want to just put a little note on here and hit save and close. And now I've got a note about this journal transaction to Joe Beecher, and it's permanently attached to this journal transaction. You can also drag and drop files. I can get one over here to show you. So I'm just going to drag and drop a PDF. I'm going to drag and drop an Excel spreadsheet. And you see I've got two files attached. One's an Excel spreadsheet, one's a PDF, and they're just random documents. But you see how you can start to populate information on this journal transaction. Notifications, automatic notifications throughout the system. You can create new ones throughout the system. I have one on a journal transaction. If there is a debit over $10,000, the message goes to Anna Johnson that there is a debit over 10K, please review. Universal functionality throughout the system, automatic notifications. You've also got drop-down menus, in this case, one to release the journal transaction, some different reports and so forth. That's the user interface. I know it's a journal transaction. Don't lose track of the fact that this is universal functionality throughout the system. Want to show you some workflow capabilities, and to do that, I'm going to log into a different user. I'm going to log into Regina Wiley. Now, Regina Wiley does not have access to all the different workspaces that the administrator had. In fact, all she does is purchase, so that's all she has. And her dashboard is the purchasing manager. Of course, she's got the universal searching button on her ID as well. But Regina is going to do a purchase order. She's going to hit New Purchase Order. And to select the vendor, she has a couple of options. She can hit the magnifying glass and see all the vendors, or she can just start typing in. And the Type Ahead feature will pull up any vendors that have, in this case, AA in it. She can write a description. We'll just say this is for equipment. And then she can add a line item down here at the bottom. And she's going to add something expensive, this injection molding machine. And she's going to order one of them. And this is before discount, an $18,000 machine. She takes it off hold. And what I want you to note here is this is now pending approval. And what has happened is Regina does not have the authority to order anything or to purchase anything over $5,000. It trips a business rule where it needs to be approved by somebody else. So I hit the Save button. And if I go back into my administrator, that could easily show up on the dashboard, on the administrator, on the approval process. But I want to show you something else. I want to show you the phone, because that's here's the approval on the dashboard. So I've got a one PO to approve. I could also be emailed. If I only get infrequently have to approve something, it could come via email. It could come via text message to approve. But I want to show you the phone functionality here. Let's see if I can get my phone to work here. Here we go. Here's my cell phone. I'm just mirroring my cell phone, and I'm going to go to this application called Acumatica, and I'm going to use the thumbprint. It leverages the built-in functionality of the phone. In this case, this is an iPhone. And you will see on this phone, you have expense receipts, expense claims, approvals. You have your events, cases and opportunities, tasks and contacts. You can do time cards, just look at all your sales orders or enter a sales order. Look at your business accounts and all your orders. You can look at your project accounting if you've got that, purchase orders and requests and so forth. If you want to see your dashboard, here's your controller dashboard. You can see the same dashboard behind me that I'm looking at on my phone, just to give you an example. If I go to this approvals icon in the upper left and click on that, here's that purchase order that I just entered. I click on the purchase order. Maybe I'm sitting on the beach somewhere and I need to approve this. I can go through, I can get all the details that I want underneath these various items, document details, approver details, and so forth. The three little buttons on the bottom right, I'm clicking on that. I'm going to go ahead and approve that, so that purchase order has been approved remotely on my phone. One other point I want to make about the phone that's really nice is, just as an example, I'm going to hit the expense receipts button in the upper left, and I'm going to hit add an expense receipt. I'm going to have an expense receipt right here for dinner that I had last week. Take a picture of the receipt, hit done. It uploads the receipt, creates a record, description, dinner with Joe. The expense item, business dinner, the amount, $525. That was a big dinner. I hit save. And then when I go back into my Acumatica instance and I go into time and expense, and I go to expense receipts, from here, I can see all of my expense receipts. Here's dinner with Joe, $525. I click on it. And I hit the file button. And here is my receipt. So the point that I'm making here is that it's real time. Whether you're on your phone, you're seeing real-time data in Acumatica, or vice versa, you have access to all your data on your phone, and it's pointed to the same server. I'll just also mention this. A lot of people like to see this. The approval maps in the system. There's what we call assignment and approval maps. So you can have all kinds of different approval maps. Like you may have approved for a time card or an AP bill or a project quote or an expense receipt. And you also have these assignment maps, which would assign things like leads. Maybe you get a lead by, size of the opportunity or geography or region, whatever it may be. You can map out the workflow within your organization. I want to touch on reporting. I'm going to go into the finance workspace, and I'm going to just click on a P&L. The first thing I want to mention here is you can schedule these, in this case a P&L, to go to Dick, Sally, and Jane at 1:18 every Tuesday morning, or once a week, or once a month. They can all be scheduled with no human hand having to touch it. I'm going to go back a couple of financial periods just because I've got more data, and I'm going to hit run the report. So here's a P&L. The first thing I want to mention to you is you can drill down. You can get to the accounts, sub-accounts, and you can drill down all the way into the journal transaction. The second thing I want to show you, going the wrong way, let me make this a little bit smaller, is of course you can print, send, export these into a PDF or an Excel file. This little button here called Groups, you can, this is the way we have this particular chart of accounts set up, so we're breaking it down by consumer groups, electronics, and food items. So if I just want to see food items P&L, or industrial equipment, or consumer goods, I can absolutely do that. Another flavor, I'll hit rolling 12 months, P&L rolling 12 months, run the report here. And of course, this crosses financial years, and you just have a rolling P&L. And one of the differences here is I've got it broken down, in this case, by division, commercial, government, etc. So whatever it makes sense to break down and to segment your data, that's what we can do. We can work with you on setting up your chart of accounts as you best see. Show you one other thing here that you might find interesting. I'm going to go to invoiced items, and let's see, tools, it's customization, that's what I'm looking for, pivot tables. So here you've got pivot tables throughout, throughout the application, so you can really leverage data if you like using pivot tables. I'll also mention Acumatica is completely integrated with Power BI. So with Power BI is another way to really view your data in dynamic ways. In fact, you can pull your data directly into Power BI. You can actually ask it questions. As an example, I want to know 2015 extended profit. I had $3.4 million. I want to look at it by state, and maybe I want to see it in a pie chart. I want to expand this out and look at it, and I can hover over these, and I can put these dashboards on my Acumatica dashboard as well. Maybe I want to see it on a map. And here are all my profits, state by state. I say, okay, I'm doing pretty well in New York and Texas and California, but missing the boat in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and see, really, get an example of what, different ways to view your information. You can, if you're familiar at all with Power BI, there's different ways that you can view your data and so forth. So that's the big picture of Acumatica. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here that I might mention. I think I will mention integrations just to show you this screen. Acumatica, we can push and pull data into the system in a variety of different formats. You can do, we have open APIs. You can do import scenarios, export scenarios. You can upload files, like I mentioned before. There's lots of ways to pull data back and forth within Acumatica into other systems. And the last thing I kind of want to make sure that you understand is the big picture of these workspaces. What different workspaces are in here? So you've got a finance workspace, AR, AP, a full built-in banking module, bank reconciliation, multi-currency, multi-language, a full time and expense module, a full purchasing, inventory with warehouses and inventory stock items, non-stock items, replenishment, sales orders, hit the more items. I've got sales taxes, project accounting for job costing. I've got a fixed assets module, contract management if you're managing different subscriptions and different contracts renewing at different times, deferred revenue for revenue recognition, a completely built-in CRM with marketing and opportunities of your sales pipeline, support tickets or cases, a built-in payroll module, a full service, field service with service orders, equipment tracking, equipment warranties, and so forth, and route management, as well as I do not have open on this particular instance a full manufacturing suite with production, MRP, bill of materials, things like that as well.